Coming up, with the beaches now open and tourists due to arrive any day, what are the hygiene measures in place to keep us safe? And how do the new people pods work? Plus, self-catering accommodation is looking to be a popular alternative this year, and I got to enjoy a mini break in Valencia. Hi everyone, I'm Michelle Baker, Benidorm resident for the past 37 years and owner of Benidorm's free newspaper, the Round Town Times. But with no tourists here still, we've been keeping people informed with these weekly videos on Benidorm forever. If this is the first one you've seen, please check out our previous videos so you can follow our journey from the beginning. Thank you. By far the biggest news in Benidorm this week has to be the much anticipated reopening of the beaches, and that finally happened on Monday. Since then, our resort has been featured on plenty of national news channels. But for those of you not yet aware, Benidorm's beaches have been mapped out with 4-metre square rope pods. Each pod can be used for up to 4 people, or you can have one all to yourself. The blue zones are for families and the green for the over 70s. Now that's not to say Granny can't be close to her family, she can use the blue zones too, but there's a designated area for the more vulnerable if Granny prefers. So how and why did Benidorm come up with this unusual idea? Well, as part of the new normal, the Spanish government have a long list of requirements to keep us all safe, including the instruction that all regions with beaches must reduce capacity to ensure social distancing measures can be maintained. So in Benidorm, where typically 45,000 people can be on the beach on a summer's day, that figure must be no more than 26,000. But Benidorm, famed for its magnificent 7 kilometres of white sandy beaches, absolutely does not want to tell anyone they can't go to the beach, which is why they came up with the idea of the pods. Not only would they ensure social distancing, they'd also allow for 2 sittings in a day if needed when the resort gets busier. There's also hundreds of sunbeds available to hire, and these aren't in pods, but as you can see at the moment there's hardly anybody here, so you can wander freely onto the beach, pick a sunbed or a pod anywhere and lay out your towel. But when the resort does get busier, you'll be able to pre-book a pod at your hotel reception or with a beach safety monitor, or book ahead using the app. Amongst the locals, these pods have been met with mixed reactions. Some applaud the innovative idea, others detest it, claiming it's not necessary with hardly any tourists here. I personally thought they were ridiculous, preferring the simplicity of social distancing like on our neighbouring beaches of Albia and Villajoyosa. But then I saw the footage of crowded beaches in Barcelona last weekend and visitors being turned away, and I now understand the concept better. But we know the rumours are scaring some tourists off, so just for the record, here are the facts. You can go barefoot on the sand, but must wear shoes on the access ramps. You can take your own chair, sunshade and beach ball. Masks are not obligatory on the beach, only on the access ramps. Remember, this is a pioneering idea, but Benidorm is no stranger to being innovative. We were one of the first resorts to use swimming pool water to wash the streets at the end of summer, for example. So what do you think of our pods? Do you love them or loathe them? Remember to leave us a comment, we'd love to hear your feedback, and we're in close contact with the town hall to relay your opinions. But despite all the safety measures, some people just aren't ready to mix with so many others, opting instead for self-catering options like a private villa or an apartment. So could this mean an increase in bookings this summer? Well, Pat and Clive certainly hope so. They own Benidorm Holiday Lettings and rent holiday apartments to mostly British tourists with an impressive 88% return rate. So what makes their apartments stand out? Well, as you can see, they're very tastefully furnished and come with all the commodities you'd want in your home away from home, including an oven, a microwave, a washing machine, Wi-Fi and of course UK TV. This beautiful 2-bedroomed apartment, for example, with a fantastic view right across Benidorm, is available in August for just £390 per week and just £200 from November for your winter sun break. So if you'd like to book an apartment for your next holiday, go to benidormholidaylettings.com for more information. And they've even got a 3-bedroom luxury apartment in swanky Albia. The Valencian region moved into phase 3 on Monday, which means finally the children's playgrounds have reopened. They've been off limits for more than 3 months, which is really hard when you consider loads of Spaniards live in an apartment and a trip to the park is the highlight of your kids' day. Also in phase 3, the nightclubs and discos can reopen, but with no dancing allowed because dancing encourages people to be too close. Personally, I think there should be a volume limiter. There's nothing more guaranteed to bring people closer than having to shout over loud music. Phase 3 also allowed us to finally move between the regions, so we went up to Valencia for a mini break. We've got 3 daughters studying at the university in Valencia, and like every other student, they were forced to flee home on March the 13th and they've not been allowed back since. So our Angie came with us to meet up with her friends, and we enjoyed seeing the city sights. The architecture in Valencia is amazing, but we'll talk about that in another episode. This is where we were 4 days before the lockdown occurred back in March. We were here to see the fabulous Mascleta fireworks at lunchtime as part of the fire fiestas in March, with no idea of what was waiting for us just around the corner. And whilst we're talking about fiestas, I'm sure you'd all like to know that the famous Benidorm fiestas, which take place in November, have not been cancelled. And whilst a lot could happen between now and then, we're all very much hoping that they will go ahead, as they're the highlight of our fiesta calendar. Before we finish, lots of you have asked for more stories about Benidorm's history, so here's one of my favourite anecdotes for you to share with your Benidorm buddies. My father-in-law, who was Spanish, used to love sharing stories with me, and I used to love hearing them, of all the history of Benidorm. And one of those stories involves this emblematic blue hotel you see behind me. This is called the Madeira Centro. Now, if we cast our minds back to the 50s, when the visionary mayor of the day, Don Pedro Zaragoza, wanted to make Benidorm the city that it is today, he had to convince the local landowners to turn their land into hotels. And that was a tough job he had on his hands. In the case of the Madeira Centro Hotel, he suggested that the guy would be happier building a hotel than running his little farm. And in the end, the man said, I'll build my hotel, but on the condition that I can still have my chicken run behind it, just in case the hotel thing doesn't take off. I've still got my eggs to sell. The rest, as they say, is history. Next week, with the country officially out of lockdown, we'll find out which of the markets are open, which bars are planning to open, plus we'll be showing you what Saturday night on the town looks like now the clubs are allowed to open. We hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please subscribe to our channel and feel free to comment and like and share the videos with your friends. We want everyone to remember Benidorm forever until it's safe for you to return, and it's not long to go now.